We're good to go.
Good to rock.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You want to start? Who are you?
Hey guys, welcome to Nerf Mercs. Recording from
We are on location. It's in
on,
my apartment.
Welcome Forum. We're in Frisco's apartment, not mine. For once in a blue moon, had some pretty crappy weather today, so we're recording from the inner lair, aka the Nerf upside down. I'm Gears, aka the guy you know, aka the Rocco Bodie of Nerf, with Frisco Bandito.
Yeah, that's me.
So, no introduction needed. Here today to talk about some stuff that you might be interested in. Starting with a pretty interesting message we got from Busby earlier this week.
Yeah, so recently Busby reached out to us. We've been in communication with them for a little while. I want to say that I've had interactions with Busby for a long time. Their customer service has always been excellent and like far and above what I would have expected from like a multinational company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that. So they watched our giveaway video and saw what we were doing, and then watched all the rest of our videos and liked what we were doing, and essentially told Gears to put his Sentinel back into his vault, and that they would send us a case of them to give away. So that's the first bombshell here, is that Busby wants to give you Sentinels, which is timely because they're being pulled off of shelves quickly. So probably by the time the giveaway happens, that first gen Sentinel will be a rare thing to find in a store, long gone.
Yeah. So, for starters, I want to apologize to everyone. I kind of bombed that video everywhere I possibly could. So if you might have seen it in a couple different, channels or pages, I do apologize for that. But it definitely did catch some attention from a couple of different, manufacturers. And like Frisco said, Busby, definitely. So not only did they include a couple, Sentinels they sent out to us, they said, hey, we saw that you guys are giving some stuff away. Let us give you some stuff. Exactly what they said. Put that Sentinel back in your vault. Not only are we going to include a couple Sentinels, but we saw you guys were interested in some of the Walking Dead blasters.
Mm-hmm. I think specifically, I had given a pretty negative opinion of the Abraham's rifle, the M16. I'd said it was cartoony and just was not excited about it for like some specific reasons, because I speak really specifically. So they said that they were going to send one along for us to review, and it is right here to Gears' left. So we got this over the weekend, and Gears played with it for a day, and then he had some impressions, and then we had our local chapter had a Laser X War, which is inside of a laser tag arena, which is super close quarters and is a really fun, frenetic way to Nerf. And I played with it for the first half of the day, trying to get like a strong impression of it. And first thing, we talk about impressions. First impression, showing it to the rest of the group, they really loved the way it looked. Everybody was all, ooh, what's this? I haven't seen it before, because it's not necessarily widely distributed on shelves, at least at the time of this recording. And everybody really, really liked it, which sort of changed my opinion of it, as I thought it was cartoony, at least in pictures. And now that I look at it in person, it is cartoony, but it's fitting, and like looks silly in that like nerfy silly kind of way. It's also huge. It's full size, so an adult can hold it and shoulder it, and it feels good. And like this stock is super firm. The prime feels really good. The handle, although it's pretty silly looking, is not uncomfortable at all. So in the looks department, that's fine. But my main issue with this type of blaster, this sort of retaliator type, is when you add extended barrels onto the end of it. It's like a fail point for the blaster, and that's where this thing falls on his face hard. So you'll see there are this sort of corrugated barrel thing, so that is mirrored on the inside, and there's no faux barrel in there to guide the dart through. So when you're shooting foam, like, they get all wonky and fly wherever they want, and sometimes that means that a dart hits one of those ribs and just stays in the barrel. So while this thing does fire every time, darts do not exit the barrel every time. I tried it with like a variety of mags, thinking that that was the issue. It wasn't. It just does not leave the barrel. It needs a barrel shroud.
Yeah, I mean, I told you I spent plenty of time kind of quote unquote like Nerf shadowboxing with the blaster once we got it on Saturday, this previous Saturday in my apartment. And, half the time I was kind of just shooting the suction cup darts that it came with through the stock magazine, a couple 12-round Nerf mags that I had, and hadn't had too many issues. But, it wasn't until we started playing with the Elites and I guess some of the off-brand darts that we started noticing, like, what's going on with this? Why isn't it feeding? And, that's the only thing I could kind of think of that would... keep the blaster from being a immediate out of the box, especially considering I'm still having a hard time kind of figuring out who this blaster is marketed towards, mostly because first and foremost, the blaster has the Walking Dead graphic novel comic book kind of font and logo on the blaster. The box itself has the comic book characters, comic book art decoed all around the box. So I mean, I'm not entirely sure if this is marketed towards the kids or the nerfing or fun blaster community, HVZ players, comic book enthusiasts. Because this unto itself, it's a pretty big hindrance in terms of performance, because this isn't going to keep you alive in a Nerf war. Not at all.
It needs to come off.
Yeah.
And anybody who's into sort of collector's items or Walking Dead fan, like, that front barrel is what makes it look like a machine gun,
Right.
Makes it look, that gives it that sort of military-esque, albeit cartoony. You're not going to take that off and, like, maintain the overall aesthetic of it.
Right. And, because, I mean, that's the first thing I noticed, too, when I picked up the blaster out of the box that Busby had sent us. Essentially, they sent us a crate of Sentinels minus a Sentinel and this inside. Whereas this blaster is at least 3 inches longer than a Sentinel. It's huge. It's kind of hard to put into perspective on camera, but it's at least the size of a Rapid Strike with its.
Yeah, I mean, we can try it. I'm 6 feet tall, and this is the size of the rifle.
It's adult size.
It's adult size.
There's no going.
This handle is adult sized. Like, I think you're onto something, that this is not necessarily marketed towards kids. It's in an aisle full of toys that are a lot of times marketed towards kids, but there's also those like Star Wars collectibles and stuff that are in that area that are not necessarily for small children. And like it's kind of appalling thinking about like kids in that 8 to 12-year-old range watching The Walking Dead or reading the comic books. That's like terrifying.
That was my first impression too, kind of opening the box. The fact that it's it's decoed in zombies and I mean in and not only is it decoed in zombies being decapitated and brains being splattered, but Carl, the fact that he's under the age of 13 wielding a firearm, it's
not a blaster, mind you, but a gun.
Not a blaster, but entirely a firearm. It's given the way that parents kind of approach toys these days, it's kind of hard to kind of see where Busby's kind of taking this directive. Is it the kids? Is it the general blaster community? Is it the Humans vs. Zombies player base? Or is it the comic book crowd who's buying the graphic novels, who's buying the trades, who's buying the individual books? It will be interesting to kind of get a hard response to where was Busby's directive in terms of marketing these.
And there's sort of some weird precedent there where like RoboCop. I remember being a kid and I remember RoboCop coming out, and like I never saw the movie, but I remember there were toys out and there was like little model RoboCop pistols and stuff, and there were RoboCop video games, and it was all over the place as though that was something that children should be watching. And there's no Paul Verhoeven movie that's appropriate for children. There's F-bombs and nudity and just grotesque violence throughout all of it. And and maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe there's just a precedent there, and you know, Busby and Alex Toys just doesn't feel like they're crossing any boundaries, and like, you know, clearly Kmart, which we were at earlier today, doesn't feel like they're crossing those boundaries either. So I mean, maybe we're just wrong. Maybe we need to be more open-minded as Nerf Mercs.
I mean, it could be. It could be the fact that, you know, we're just, you know, not accepting enough that, you know, kids are just exposed to this stuff, or it just could be that kids are mature enough as is, you know, to buy these kinds of products. But you know, I'll never say that, you know, this isn't or, you know, this is way too adult for a child. This is, you know, too over the top. I don't know. It's just it's kind of, you know, curious.
But also, you know, people at the event really liked it. And, like, as a shelf thing or just something cool to have, absolutely it's cool. Do I like it as is? No. Am I going to remove this barrel and try and play with it some more? Yeah. Is that what Busby's selling? No. Should they put a faux barrel inside and fix that problem? Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's it, man. Like, will I personally pick up on these blasters? I might try to convince Fisco to just give me his. But, no, I mean, I think, the only thing holding this blaster back is that faux barrel. I mean, it's essentially, you know, for Nerf enthusiasts, it's a Reaper. You know, the dart tooth actuates on the trigger pull. It's a top prime blaster, so, you know, it has that same exact function, but it's in a really cool shell, and I mean, the only thing holding it back is that, you know, that faux barrel that kind of links the dart tooth up to the muzzle itself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that was corrected, it would be a pretty recommendable blaster. But as is, I mean, this is a blaster that's gonna get you killed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can say about it.
Bring a Reaper.
Bring a Reaper. That's the thing. But I mean, as a shell, it's pretty cool. Nerf Mercs out.
Like where these lines are, it's like that on the inside as well. And so when you shoot it out, there's just so much space for it to go. So what you said, yeah.
Too much
Fuzzy,
space.
put a barrel in there.
Goofy stuff. Fix it.
It does feel nice in the hand though, you know? It does not feel like it's for a kid. It feels like it's for an adult. That's a practical feel to it.
So that's the honest review.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That's my review.
I like it.
No, I do like it.
So like, comment, and subscribe.